Committee for Economic Development Downtown Metropolitan Planning. We have myself, Council Beta Chair, Council Hogan. I'm hoping for a third committee member to jump on, but we also have Council Driscoll. Welcome, Council Driscoll. Always appreciate you being here. Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens, Commissioner Clifford, Commissioner Collins, Deputy Commissioner Tiff, and I see Jake DeShaw, and hopefully I'm not missing any other directors or commissioners. And I'm going to say Owen just because I think he's a cool guy. So Jessica, when you reached out, you mentioned in the email that we have 5 items. Is it all from assessment?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, Commissioner Clifford, you have the floor.
Well, we have some license agreements for the lot on the corner, the northwest corner of Salina Street and Martin Luther King. This lot has been used informally by certain vendors in the past, which I'm sure you're aware of. What I understand we're trying to do here is to legitimize these businesses in that location. And I guess if you want more information, Jen Tift is much more well-versed in this than I am. So I'll leave it to her to explain.
I am familiar, but I am interested in just for the sake of the other councilors, hearing from Deputy Commissioner Tiff, and I see you have Calvin Quarters, the second or junior on here as well.
Yep,
So
yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jen.
Absolutely. Jen Tift, Deputy Commissioner MBD. Yes, as Commissioner Clifford alluded to, the city's actually been working with these business owners and in collaboration with Cal, for probably the last 6 to 8 months to really learn about their businesses, to help them and kind of walk them through not only processes that would allow them to utilize this lot, which is really what we're here to talk about today, but to get them registered as businesses, to get them tax ID numbers and really get them on a more formal journey to be legitimate businesses. And so they've been incredibly appreciative, I think, of all the work, and Cal's really been going step by step with them every kind of step of the way on some of those technical assistance related things, just related to their business plans and their business development. And these are 5 individuals who they kind of own a range of businesses or are trying to really work in a range of areas, but they're all generally mobile retail. There's a few food trucks, there's a mobile merchandise vendor, and then there's a gentleman who I think people refer to his car wash a lot, but it's not really a full service car wash. He doesn't need water hookups and those types of things. He's really like a car detailer is how we think of him. And so we do have, and we've been working with the transportation planning team as well, just to make sure as we planned for, allowing them to utilize this lot, they have a safe layout, and they'll sort of receive some very specific guidance on where exactly in the lot to be positioned and what space to reserve for customers, for example, who are going to come on the lot. So I'm happy to share. I have a map just in case anyone wants to see it. I'm happy to share it via WebEx so folks can look at it. But we've put an awful lot of thought into how they could utilize this lot. I think long term, the city would probably like to sell this lot and put it into productive use. But I think certainly for this year, this is a very productive use of the lot. And now that the businesses are registered businesses and they have tax IDs, the city may actually see some tax revenue from their work as well. So, I'm pretty excited actually about this. I think we'd look to maybe do similar things if there are other instances like this happening in other parts of the city. But I think, these folks have a long tenure on this site, and so we're happy that we can help them, to utilize this in an effective way. happy to answer more questions about any of the businesses or what we're trying to do. And Cal's here to answer questions, obviously, as well.
Could you remind me of the site again, Jen? Sorry,
Yeah,
Councilor
it's
Bay.
the city parking lot at the corner of South Salina and MLK.
It's
Yeah,
just south of the Sears building.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Any of my colleagues have myself and Councilor Allen are probably more intimately aware of this
Yep.
operation than anybody. So I don't have any questions. Does anybody, any of my council colleagues have any concerns?
I would like to ask a few, Councilor Bay, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious, as far as taking these businesses from kind of ad hoc or unofficial to overground, what's kind of the motivation or some of the benefits that you expect to see from making it more official and making it, taking it to more of a properly aligned business with all of them?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different things. I think they get some benefits, from this as well, which is I think why they've been pretty appreciative of us working with them. One of the interesting things, I point this out a lot during the pandemic. One of the interesting things about some of the sole proprietors and entrepreneurs out there who've been operating really unregistered or informal businesses during the pandemic is that they don't qualify for the federal relief programs that were made available to small businesses. So we want to make sure that all of our entrepreneurs and those folks that are trying to pursue business ideas go through all the proper steps so that if they do want to expand, for example, and some of these folks maybe will see a brick and mortar location, maybe they want to move from a food truck to an actual restaurant or a catering operation. If they need a small business loan through the SBA, or they want to come to, Sedco, for example, for financing through the city, we can't really entertain that with them unless they're legitimate businesses. And so we want to make sure they have the right, paperwork and authorization in place so that they can really, pursue their business plans to their fullest. And if they do decide to just, continue to operate on a more ad hoc or mobile, venue, that's obviously fine too. But it does help with, for example, even if they wanted to set up as a mobile vendor at one of the festivals or any of those other things that we license and permit, they're going to be asked for a liability waiver and proof of insurance. Like they kind of need all of those infrastructural things to be able to, potentially operate more and in a more formal way. So those are really the benefits that they get. I think we obviously now can, can track these guys, as I said, since they have tax IDs now and they're registered businesses, we'll see, probably a little bit of tax revenue from the work that they're doing. And I think in continuing to partner with folks like Cal, long term, I think our hope is that some of these guys will maybe be interested in taking on a more either brick and mortar establishment or looking at ways to become, sort of more formal in the community. And that helps with a lot of our community development and our business development and business corridor development goals. Because I think in talking to a lot of these guys, like I can think of a few sites off the top, like in that neighborhood, that it'd be great to see them, rent space and have a more permanent establishment, right? And they already, in some cases, they already have, a following who go and utilize their businesses in this lot every summer. So they kind of have word of mouth and brand recognition going for them already. Wouldn't it be great if we could fill some of our commercial vacancies with exactly these kinds of entrepreneurs who've just been, operating a lot more informally over the years?
If I can add, Councilor Driscoll, I appreciate that explanation, Jen. Credit to this administration, credit to Senator Satan, Calvin Quarters, and certainly appreciation to Councilor Allen. This is a different kind of thing, for the city to be able to make an adjustment to accommodate this circumstance. certainly we don't want to give the idea that this kind of approach will be happening all the time everywhere. We don't want to do that, but it's a unique circumstance that car detail is making a killing. So if we got some tax money from that, that wouldn't be bad. I can attest to that. The cars were lined up, probably about 15 cars in the 1 hour I drove by there over the weekend. So I will say, Jen, there is interest from conversations I've had, and maybe Calvin have had them as well. He can chime in if he wishes. That those guys are interested in progressing to brick and mortar operations. And that's the ideal situation here. We've kind of stumbled upon a makeshift incubator on that corner, and so again, appreciation and credit. I grew up with a lot of those guys right there in Central Village, and so I've known them for a long time. And so it's just interesting to see, and again, I appreciate the adjustments that the city's made to make this into something legitimate.
Yeah, and if I could just jump in really quickly. Hi everyone, I'm Cal Quarters. I work for Center State. That as it was pointed out, but yeah, this is kind of as Khalid pointed out, an incubator. It's a low cost way of these guys to get their feet wet in the business world, and they're entrepreneurs, they're visionaries. They are already talking about expanding and looking to get brick and mortar space, but this is a good segue into that, a good way to really kind of get their beak wet and get them a little bit of experience. And they've already got business certifications and are starting to invest in themselves. And I think this is just a great way to begin that process for them.
Yeah, I just want to say this is really cool. This is the type of government I like to see. So shout out to Jen and Cal and Councilors Bay and Allen for all the folks. I don't know who else was involved in getting this going, but I think it's really great to build off of already taking initiative and entrepreneurial spirit out there and really just help nurture what's already going on. I think that's more the role of government than to initiate initiatives or entrepreneurship, but to build off what's already out there. So thanks. It's really cool to hear about.
Councilor Hogan, I think, were you saying something? I think you're muted.
Counselor, if I could say a few, I agree with you totally, and I love this idea. In fact, if memory serves me, many of our more long-serving establishments who are brick and mortar now started off the same way. One of them, the Dinosaur Barbecue Express, started off much like this as a outdoor vendor. So, I think it's really important, and I commend the administration to be flexible and amenable to this type of situation, just like you said, Councilor Bay, and to Councilor Driscoll's point too. So that's terrific. I served on a lot of boards with your dad, Cal. He's a good man. Just say hello to him for me, okay?
Will do. I appreciate that.
Any further questions or comments relative to this item or these items? Hearing none. If I am correct, that was all we had, right? All right, and so I see Councilor White has joined us. So I just need confirmation from Councilor White and Hogan that we move forward with this on the agenda, if we could.
Oh yeah, let's move it.
Yes, let's go forward.
All right, appreciate it. And I won't say we broke a record for the shortest meeting, but we were close. All right, thanks a lot, everybody.
Oh, I think I have that record.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think so. All right, thanks, Calvin. Appreciate it.
I know.